This is WVUA 23 Law Call.
And welcome to WVUA Law Call. I'm Mike Royer. Every week we take your questions about different legal topics live on the air. Those questions get answered, of course, by West Alabama attorneys. Now, before we go to the phones tonight and take your questions, let's take a look at tonight's topic and what else we'll be talking about tonight on Law Call. In a simple traffic collision, you usually have the insurance companies of each driver handle the situation and go on about your business. Well, truck accidents aren't quite that simple. Because of their size and their weight and other factors, there are very few minor crashes with a big 18-wheeler. And fault could lie with one or more entities, the driver, the trucking company, or maybe even the shipper. In our caller segment tonight, we'll take calls about car and truck wrecks. If you have a question, give us a call. The phone number on your screen, 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. Plus, we'll explain what safeguards are in place to limit frivolous lawsuits. Also, we'll tell you about debt collectors and what they can and cannot do when trying to collect from you. That's important information. Plus, we'll answer some of your email questions as well. We're joined, of course, by attorney Bob Prince from Prince, Glover and Hayes. He joins us tonight. If we have a little time tonight, we might talk about helicopters, which most people don't own one, but they might help pay for one if they're not careful. So we'll see if we have time for that later on. We want to take a closer look at the law with tonight's opening statement. What are you talking about tonight, Bob?
Well, you mentioned frivolous lawsuits, and a lot of folks think, they hear that term, they think all lawsuits, or a lot of them, are frivolous, but you come to understand, if you look into it, that the judge can toss that case out.
Yep.
Plus, no lawyer is going to spend money. The filing fees now are $100 and something for one defendant. Nobody's going to file a frivolous lawsuit, on purpose, just to try to squeeze some kind of settlement out. Plus, you can be disbarred. I mean, the law, we are governed by ethics, and if somebody repeatedly did file frivolous lawsuits, they wouldn't be a lawyer very long.
Well, and the reputation has something to do with it. If everyone says, well, you can go to him, but he never gets a settlement or wins a case, and he'll file anything, that gets around after a while. Your reputation is how you make your living.
Exactly right. So no lawyers can file a frivolous lawsuit. I've never seen one. I really haven't.
Bob and I thought we would be smart tonight and balance the age a little bit. Two old guys over on this side, and speak to one of the younger attorneys in your firm. Who do we have here tonight?
Yeah, he may be young, but he's still pretty good.
That's what you said earlier.
He's experienced already. Yeah, we got Blake Williams back.
I'm glad to be here. Looking forward to a good show.
Good to have you with us, Blake. You deal with suits of all different kinds. 18-wheelers, one of them, right?
Definitely. We handle a lot of different personal injury cases, other cases where we represent people from all around the state and surrounding states that have been injured or damaged. So this is one of our primary areas.
All right. Let's get started with the phone call. BT from Tuscaloosa is on the line, always with a good question. BT, good to hear from you, sir. Can you ask your question, please?
Yes, sir, I do, Michael and Bob and DJ. Well, my question is, if a person hits you, 18-wheeler hits you, how you settle the, getting the money back from, you know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Do, yeah,
what is the procedure? BT wants to know. What do you do?
Well, the insurance situation is a lot similar to just a generic car wreck. You're going to have an insurance company that insures that trucking company, insures that driver, and so you'll want to put them on notice so they know that you are making a claim, but do not expect in an 18-wheeler collision to get adequate compensation without filing a lawsuit. That's most likely not going to be the case. You're going to need to file a lawsuit, and most of the time you're going to need to hire an attorney because there's an investigation that needs to take place.
Right.
You need to get someone out there quickly to look at the scene, to make sure that it's photographed and documented so that, say, later, 3-4 years down the road, you go to court, someone can reconstruct what happened.
We mentioned something at the beginning of our Law Call program tonight that I wasn't aware of. Several entities, my script said, could be at blame. The driver, the trucking company, the shipper. How could the person that hired the trucking company to haul their merchandise across the country possibly be at fault in an accident? How does that come up?
Let's just say, for example, you have a driver of a trucking company backs into the place that he's going to get all of his the cargo loaded. And let's just say the requirements for this shipping company, whoever's loading the cargo, is to take these pieces of metal and to stand them up or sit them down. And instead of doing that, they do the opposite for convenience. Then halfway down the roadway, that comes off. shifts, comes off, it's not chained down, it's not stacked appropriately, goes across the roadway and hits you. And so you have liability, as you said, from several different sources in that scenario.
I can't wait to get by a truck that's got those big metal pipes on there or rebarb, something that's on there. And I'm sure they've got it secured well, but that makes me nervous just driving by them.
Right, and if you know, a scenario like that, let's just say you do hire an attorney and you file a lawsuit, you can get the requirements for how stuff is supposed to be loaded. And you can see, was it loaded correctly? And if it's not, there's a problem for somebody.
Generally speaking, don't you both think some of the best drivers out there on the roads we're looking at in this video are truck drivers? They're good drivers, they're well trained, but accidents do happen, and sometimes those accidents are caused by carelessness or a mistake that's been made.
Right. You know, truck drivers, I say all the time, truck drivers, there's a lot of very good truck drivers that are trained properly. They work hard. They're on the roadways all the time. And you'll find as you look into these cases a lot, issues stem more from the trucking company. They're not properly training their drivers on what to do, and so they hit the roadway and are doing the best they can, but they're not properly trained for every circumstance.
You see advertisements all the time. We need drivers. They all seem to be hiring all the time. So there's a lot of relatively new drivers out there driving those big trucks, and they can't stop on a dime, can they?
Right, and they can't, and so they need to know exactly if they come up on a situation how to respond. But like you say, their new driver hits the roadway, they may not even be aware if they're just thrown into the cab of what rules govern them. And so that's incumbent on the employer there to educate them and train them before they get out on the roadway.
I try to give them a lot of room. I know they're difficult to move, and if one of them signals and wants over, I just back off and let them go. You're not going to win in that if you ever bump into one, right?
Right, and it's defensive driving.
Absolutely.
Defensive driving. When I was 15 and my dad was driving everywhere with my dad, he was always telling me to be a defensive driver. It's good when you're around an 18-wheeler. You know, they talk about blind spots. You know, there's certain area right beside an 18-wheeler where they may be checking their mirrors. You may not see it. They may not see you. So definitely be aware because you may be doing everything right. They may be not. They just may not see you, and then a collision occurs.
If someone is in an accident with an 18-wheeler, wherever it happens, however it happens, and they think they were done wrong, for lack of a better term, should they just call you and make an appointment to come give you the details? Here's what happened. Here's what I think happened. And with your experience, you can look at it and say, we should pursue that. Or sometimes you'll say, no, we probably shouldn't.
Definitely, as far as calling someone that handles these cases and experienced with them, looking into it, because on the surface even you may get a wreck report and just think there's, as the person who was hit, not much there. But a lot of times once you start peeling the onion, you start realizing there's more issues there.
All right.
And so you definitely want to call someone quickly because evidence disappears, information disappears. Get in touch with someone.
Very good. Let's go back to the phones. Jack is calling from Nashville. Jack, good evening to you. Thanks for calling. What's your question?
Yes, sir.
Good to hear from you, Jack.
Nashville, Alabama.
Yes, sir. A nice town. What's your question tonight?
Well, most lawyers don't want to take the case on because it's not real big money. But I bought hearing aids through a company, and they've been bad ever since I have them. And they still got about a year's warranty on them, and I've been back and forth to the hearing aid outlet for about 30 times.
My goodness.
And I paid about $3,000, and my insurance company is the one that recommended me to go through this circulation of people and go to this place. And I've got to do something. I don't have a lot of thousands of dollars laying around. I'm old and Social Security.
Yeah.
But I got thrown out of the office today because I went in with a bad attitude, but I didn't curse nobody.
Well,
I talked straight to them, hard and straight.
Yeah. And
I'm tired of them running the road trying to get them. And I've been wearing hearing aids since 1986.
And you say you've had to go about these, did you say 30 times?
30 times.
Well, that's a lot of trips to the doctor, and we don't know all the reasons or their side of the story, but hearing aids are not inexpensive. What do you do if you just go and go and go? We all may need hearing aids eventually. What do you do in that case?
Well, it sounds like he said it's, from his position, it's under warranty. So
Yeah.
if it is under warranty and it's covered, then they should reimburse you or replace them. Sounds like you've been trying to do that with no luck. Sometimes a simple letter from an attorney can go a long way, just to try to make sure that the person on the other end understands you're serious and that you understand what your rights are. You may want to go meet with someone, talk with someone, but it sounds like you're doing everything you can. And so I would say maybe talk with someone. Maybe a letter could help.
Jack, are you still there, or did Jack go away? I wonder if it's under warranty, it might be one of those where the warranty's still there, but it will only cover a small amount, like maybe 20% or something is left on coverage if it fails, something like that.
Well, and that happens a lot, and it's the same thing kind of in our industry we deal with, is you get a warranty or you get an insurance policy, and there are exclusions or limitations in the policy that you may not know about, and that could be a situation here where there's some exclusion or limitation that is the real source of the problem. And what we do, we deal with that a lot too. People don't understand the exclusions in their policies, and so it's always good whether you have a warranty, like in this situation, or an insurance policy. Make sure you read it, know what's in it.
And if you can't get a lawyer to take your case, small claims court is designed for claims under $10,000. Go down to the courthouse, they'll help you fill out the forms, and maybe you can get that company to come to Huntsville and defend what they've done to you. And also, I was thinking the class actions.
Right.
If that hearing aid is defective in mass, in other words, if they designed it improperly, or if all of them don't work properly, then some lawyer may take it as a class action. So if the next time you talk to a lawyer, mention that, or take them to small claims court yourself.
Filing fee in small claims isn't too much usually.
No, it's not, and the court's designed to be without lawyers.
That's right.
They have sort of packets there for people that can really help you along the way in the process.
Sounds like great advice for you, Jack. For $3,000, by the time you hire an attorney and go to court and go through it, you'll spend more than $3,000 likely as it is continued or whatever. So that's a great idea. Look into a small claims case that you would handle yourself. You'd tell the judge what happened and go on from that. I know, Danny, you told me our next caller. Who is it again? And we'll go to our phones again. Bobby. Bobby from Sneed, Alabama. Hello, Bobby. Good evening to you. What's your question tonight? Are you there, Bobby?
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir. What's your question?
I want to know if I can get my money back.
On an insurance claim, is that what you're talking about? You say your insurance was canceled, the screen says. Is that right?
Right. They canceled my insurance.
Yeah.
I had a wreck in an 87 Toyota. Hit 3 cars was already hit, lined up, and I come along, it was raining and dark, and I hit the one in the back.
Hey, Bobby, was it your automobile insurance or your, like Blue Cross, or what kind of insurance?
It was.
I know, but was it covering your automobile or was it health insurance?
I had full coverage.
Yeah, but it was your automobile insurance,
yeah,
right?
I think he's talking about
for your car.
Yeah. Well, even though they cancel, Blake, don't they have to cover?
Right. If you had coverage on the date of the incident, then you will be covered. And it sounds like, I couldn't tell if it was your fault or someone else's fault in the wreck, but if you had coverage on that day, then they should provide you coverage, whether it's defending you or if you may have medical payments coverage. You were referencing paying your bills. And so if you had that coverage, sometimes you may have $1,000, $2,000 available to pay your bills, then they should pay that, regardless of whether they canceled it after that date.
All right, hope that is helpful to you. Insurance companies are not obligated to insure you. If they want to cancel you for about any reason, they can, if they want to.
Yeah, they can, but you can cancel them too, Mike.
Absolutely.
And that's what people don't think about. So,
It
I mean,
works
it's
both ways.
it works both ways.
Yeah.
But they generally won't cancel you because they're making money off of you.
Got somebody with their insurance canceled and somebody else thrown out of the hearing aid store. This is a rough show
Wow,
tonight.
yeah.
It's a tough one. We're going to take a break. Tonight we're talking about a variety of subjects that you want to talk about. We're talking about 18-wheeler accidents as well. We'll take more of your questions live right after this. You're watching Law Call on WVUA 23.
Welcome to Crimson Village and the Tides, West Alabama's newest and largest state-of-the-art assisted living facility. Be a part of a beautiful new community that offers activities and amenities for everyone with 24-hour care. Our family helping your family.
Need a lawyer and can't afford one? There are 2 numbers you may want to know if you have a civil case and need legal assistance. Legal Services Alabama is a nonprofit law firm that provides free legal assistance to low-income individuals. You can reach them at 1-866-456-4995. Also at this number, they can provide counseling and budget assistance for those facing foreclosure. Volunteer Lawyers is a program of the Alabama State Bar that uses volunteer attorneys to assist low-income individuals with civil legal problems. You can reach the Volunteer Lawyers program at 1-888-857-8571.
July's the time to celebrate, and at Philip Furniture and Mattress, we're celebrating with an explosion of savings throughout every store. Get this 5-piece living room suite for only $8.99. Get this 5-piece dinette only $3.99. And don't forget the kids. Bunk beds are just $1.99. Even mattresses are on sale. Get a free gift with a purchase of $2.99 or more. It's an explosion of savings going on right now at every Spiller Furniture and Mattress location where you get big selection, friendly service, and credit.
SEC football media days are here, and WVUA 23 has you covered. Join Sports Director Gary Harris and the WVUA 23 News and Sports staff for the latest from the SEC head coaches and players, including Alabama's Nick Saban. SEC Media Days coverage all week on WVUA 23 News at 5, 6, and 10. And Tighter Insider, brought to you by Barkley Buick GMC Cadillac. It's the dog days of summer. WVUA 23 and Tuscaloosa Lawn Equipment want to see how your dog stays cool this summer. Send your pictures to Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott, and you may see your dog on WVUA 23.
My mother Louise enjoys living here at Crimson Village.
Crimson Village has been a very positive impact on my brother.
No place like home.
Welcome to Crimson Village and the Tides, our family helping your family.
Welcome back to Law Call on WVUA 23. If you're dealing with debt and dealing with debt collectors or debt collection agencies, that can be a very stressful time for you and your family. Well, in tonight's legal brief, Tuscaloosa attorney Eric Wilson explains what you need to know about debt collectors.
A common question I get is, can debt collectors contact me at work? The answer is yes, but only if you agree to it. Debt collection agencies cannot contact you at work if you tell them not to. Also, they cannot contact you before 8 a.m. and after 9 p.m. They cannot be harassing or threatening, and they certainly cannot put you in jail over a debt. Unless you plan to file for bankruptcy, most credit counselors believe you shouldn't ignore your debt or try to hide from a debt collector. Generally, the longer you put off resolving the issue, the worse the situation and consequences become. So either negotiate with the collector or talk to a lawyer. That's your legal brief for tonight. I'm attorney Eric Wilson. Back to you.
We'd like to take more calls from you. If you have a question about 18-wheeler accidents, anything that you're concerned about that our attorneys could chat with you about, call us at 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. Of course, we have Bob Prince and Blake Williams with us tonight. An interesting subject came up earlier this week, a news story, and then we chatted about it earlier, and that is the use of a helicopter. If I get hurt, I want to get to the emergency room as fast as I can, but that can be a very expensive proposition, can it, Bob?
Yeah, air ambulance instead of a regular ambulance. But you kind of get shocked at the end, though, Mike, because they take you to the hospital, and then all of a sudden, a month later, you get a bill for $40,000 where your insurance only paid $10,000 on their bill, and they insist on you paying it. You seen that, Blake?
We have. I've seen it a few times, and it's it'll catch you off guard when you get a bill like that. One of the problems with it is this: if I'm in a wreck, they ask you, "Do you want an ambulance?" Well, I can say yes or no to a ground ambulance. Well, an air ambulance, a helicopter, comes and takes you. You may not even know about it, and then you get hit with a $40,000 bill. Insurance pays 10. Maybe there's 30 left for you. And they're wanting you to pay that. And so it can cause a lot of issues. We've had some success, but sometimes not in getting those bills reduced.
And in those cases, they not only want you to pay it, there have been examples of them coming after you through debt collection or putting a lien on your property to collect. I've seen bills as much as $77,000 for an ambulance. You've had cases like this.
Right.
What did you argue? That it was just an exorbitant charge and should be reduced? What did you present in court when you tried to deal with it?
Well, a lot of times what the argument I make is this, is I am working I'm working for my client to get them a settlement, but at the same time, you're sort of relying on me to get a settlement to hope that you get paid.
I understand.
And so that argument most people agree to get a reduction for attorney fees, but then there's a stronger argument that it is an excessive and unreasonable charge to get a greater reduction.
And Bob, you have another idea on this that may be even better for a client.
Well, I mean, if you're in a wreck and they don't ask you, you don't consent, or your agent doesn't, maybe you're unconscious, your wife doesn't, or your husband doesn't. Well, where's the contract? You didn't order that air ambulance. Somebody else ordered it. And so, even though you benefited, it's not something that you requested.
My Chinese restaurant does not bring food to my house unless I call and ask for
Exactly.
it. And they don't send me a bill for Chinese food I didn't get. A simplistic comparison, but you might question in a court of law, do we have a contract? Where does it say we're obligated to pay you for this?
Well, exactly. And the problem stems from the fact that there's a glut of helicopters now that are willing to be air ambulances for people.
And they're very expensive.
No, they're very expensive.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Not only to transport you, they're expensive to buy, to operate, to have a pilot. We get that.
Sure.
But these charges of $77,000 to, I believe in the case I read about, it was like 24 miles.
Right.
It looks to me like a judge or a jury would go, that's ridiculous.
Well, and also, what if it's not a life-threatening injury? What if you just broke your leg or something, and an ambulance could take, a ground ambulance could take you?
In the cases you've had, the reading you've done on this, do you know generally who calls for that air ambulance? Do you know yet?
It's going to be the first responders and the doctors or whoever. It's not going to be you.
No.
I mean, nobody in their right mind would. I mean,
And this is probably an area where courts are going to have to start taking this issue up on whether the charges are reasonable and customary.
Yeah.
Right.
That issue for hospitals has been taken up, and there's settled law on those issues. But I can foresee in the next few years that some law coming down on this issue.
Yes.
If you or someone you love is injured, you might want to ask at the scene if you've got your wits about you. Are you calling an air ambulance? And if so, what's it going to cost? Just good luck with that, but be aware that it could be a problem. Let's go to Munford, Alabama. Keith is on the line. And Keith, you have a question on Law Call tonight. Good evening to you.
Yes, how you doing?
Good,
Keith.
thanks.
Good.
Okay, this is a little different. I'm an independent truck driver. Actually, I'm an owner-operator, and I got injured in working. I'm leased to a company. I bought a policy 12 years ago through the company to pay for accident and disability insurance. I found out I tore my roller cuff back in February. And I've been trying to get the insurance company. I had to have surgery in March, and I've been off ever since March. The insurance company has not paid me one dime. They continue to try to tell me that this accident was not an accident. It was something long-term because I had a previous rotor cuff tear 18 years ago, which is when I was with another company, a minor rotor cuff tear. This was a major rotor cuff tear, as well as 3 other things that had to be done to my shoulder. So I have not been able to return to work, and they have not came up off of a penny.
Keith, I understand that recovery is very painful. I hope you're doing well now. Now, what's the answer to his question, gentlemen?
Well, I tell you, the first thing I thought about, Mike, is, man, this guy's been working 18 years with an injured shoulder. I mean, he's back at work for 18 years. See, the insurance won't pay unless it's a sudden event. It has to be an accident.
So if they say this became bad over a long period of time, they don't call that a claim?
Exactly. They say, well, no, if it's accident insurance, they say, well, that's not an accident. That's a progressive injury.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. And the way to prove that is just, in any case, you're going to have to most likely have some type of medical testimony, someone to show the issue of causation, that this incident is what caused these problems.
Right.
But he needs to go to a lawyer.
He does, definitely.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
It's breach of contract there, And the common sense argument is your shoulder was well enough for you to work 18 years. I mean,
and you paid your premiums, and you ought to be covered.
Yeah, exactly.
Call one of these guys, call an attorney, get some good advice on that, because I'm not an attorney, but that sounds like a pretty good case to me, Keith. Good luck to you on that, and these guys can help you out. We're going to take a quick break, come back with some final words on Law Call, and if we didn't get to your question tonight, email us anytime at lawcall.com/Tuscaloosa.
And here we have 1893 from the makers of Pepsi Cola. I'm gonna swirl it. I'm gonna smell it. I'm just gonna take one small sip.
Kind of seemed like more than a sip.
Yeah, let me show you. Refined.
1893, made with cola nut extract and real sugar. Boldly blended colas.
The College of Communication and Information Sciences at the University of Alabama invites you to host your football tailgate in the heart of campus. Host the ultimate tailgate experience while providing amenities like climate-controlled space and indoor restrooms. Or sponsor a CNIS alumni tailgate and connect your organization with hundreds of alumni and friends on UA game day. Don't miss your chance to enjoy our outstanding venue. Visit cis.ua.edu for rental and sponsorship information. The Tailgate at Reese Pfeiffer. Be a part of a winning tradition.
My poetry is about viewing the world as I saw it as a young man, and down through the ages I continued to write verse. I used that as a creative expression, but it also helped me through life because I could address certain issues, certain feelings, and certain appreciations. I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. And suddenly I realized I was there where those other people were. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Struggling to make your house payment? Life's twists and turns don't have to mean losing your home. Hardest Hit Alabama is a federally funded foreclosure prevention program. If you qualify, Hardest Hit Alabama can pay your mortgage payments on your behalf or provide other forms of assistance. We've helped thousands of Alabama homeowners, and we may be able to help you too. Visit hardesthitalabama.com to learn more.
Time to take a look at what's on the docket for the rest of the month and heading into the month of August. On July 21st, we'll talk about getting hurt on the job. If you've got questions about wills or estate planning, give us a call on July 28th because we'll be talking about grandpa and the law. And we can't heal your broken heart, but we can answer your divorce and child custody questions. That's coming up on August the 4th. It's time for us to say goodnight. And if you have any additional questions for Bob Prince or Blake Williams, give them a call at the Prince, Glover, and Hayes Law Group here in Tuscaloosa. Their phone number, 205-345-1234, or you can call toll-free, 877-591-3377. I'd like to thank Bob and Blake for being here, and we'd like to thank you for watching and for calling in. Join us again next Thursday night at 6:30 when we'll be taking your questions about being hurt on the job. It's Law Call on WVUA 23. Thanks for watching, and good night, everybody.
Good night.